Hey guys, welcome back to Flashback Review. And today's movie we're talking about is Walt Disney's Parent Trap, starring Hayley Mills. This is the film that gave Hayley Mills a stamp of approval in films, especially within family films. She went on to do a lot more films with Disney, and this was the film that really people recognized her the most. Is it my personal favorite film? No, I still feel that the first American film she was in, Pollyanna, is the staple film for me, one of my personal favorite, the one I hold dear to in my heart. But this film, you can't throw this away. This was a very, very, very good movie, and with a very good cast. So let's get started with the film here. It's pretty much starts with the identical twins, Susan and Shannon, and they both pretty much at first didn't know they were twins. They looked at each other and said, "Wow, there's someone who looks just like me in this camp," because both of them went to camp. Both of them from different classes. They didn't get along with each other. Basically, it was pranking each other until eventually their conflicts and their rift have finally got the best of them, until the counselors have actually isolated them in a cabin, and that's when things started to change. They started to become friends. They started to talk to each other, and it was only then that they realized that they were actually twin sisters. This led to anger, confusion. What happened? Why nobody actually told them anything? But in turn, they actually came up with a plan to switch places. This plan involves, seeing how the other family lives, as well as bringing their family together, their mother and their father. We get to learn what typical, pretty much a typical scene where you have one family that is rich and very powerful, the other one is not poor, but pretty much the average working guy, or the average cabin guy that you want, if you want to call it, in this film. And you can sense this is where the film was going to go right from the beginning. You see how the mother is, you see how the father is, and you pretty much also see the rift they had with each other that forced them to separate. Things even get more interesting when they realize that the father may be getting married soon, and that put the stakes more on the twins to get their family together before that actually happened. This led to a lot of pranks, a lot of rift between the family members, and this is and at the end, which this is probably one of my downsides, the sisters actually won out, and the family actually rekindled their relationships and remarried in this movie. So I'm basically giving you a short synopsis because I don't want to spend 15 minutes explaining the whole story, but pretty much that's just the gist of it. Girls found out their sisters switched places. The sisters actually wanted to get the family together. Hopefully that once they see each other, they realize how much they love each other. In the end, they get remarried. All is well. This movie is good. I like this movie. It's not my favorite. It's not my best. It's not the one I actually go back to from time to time. But it's a good movie. It's not. It's definitely not something to sneeze over. This is actually Hayley Mills' staple role, and for a lot of reasons. She played dual characters, and when you play dual characters, particularly in this movie, you have to convince the audience that you're two different people, and she does it perfectly. I think she is definitely the carrier of this movie. She done it well, playing Susan Evans and Susan McKendrick. Actually, when you see those characters separately or together, you are automatically convinced that there are two different actors who actually think they're actually real sisters in real life, and that really, that I tip my cap to Hayley Mills. Hayley Mills did a magnificent job. This movie, even though I still feel that Pollyanna is my personal favorite, I will say this movie pretty much proved that she was not a one-time wonder, a one-hit wonder in terms of credibility and acting. Like I said before, the movie, the Pollyanna was not a real success. It was actually a bomb in the box office, and this film wasn't. This film had high praises. This film was even nominated for an Academy Award. It was nominated for Hayley Mills herself was nominated for a lot of awards herself. So this film really did staple her as one of the most premier child actors that a lot of people have seen. Many people, when they see most of Disney's live action films, Hayley Mills was in at least one of those films every year. She have recently, I believe after this film, she has signed on for 5 more films. The last one I'm pretty sure was That Darn Cat, and I'll get to that film in the later date. But this was the movie. When you talk about motion pictures, when you talk about movies that actually that actually is known as one of the '60s classics, Parent Trap always be brought up, and rightfully so. It even sparked not one but 3 sequels, made-for-TV sequels, which surprisingly was just as good as the original. And I will get to one of those sequels also later on down the road. But this is a movie that was once again directed by the late David Swift, who actually directed her in Pollyanna. It also stars Maria O'Hara, Brian Keefe. So they had a very good star power down there, and the acting was good. The acting was very, very solid. In fact, the acting was the strongest point of this film that really carried this film from beginning to end. Now let's get on to some of the things I did not like. There were some things that I had a problem with. I will tell you this right now. When I first saw this film, I wasn't really interested in the first act. The first act to me dragged, and that was because the dialogue for that first point really wasn't that good. The fact is that Hayley Mills was good at it, really kept it from being even worse. Some of the stuff she was saying, I didn't really picture a person saying, even in the 60s. But this is Disney. Disney is at that time, their family films, particularly this film, had to remain a little bit PC. Right up to the time where the big fight incidents where one of the twins tore the dress off the other. They ended up getting into a scuffle, and that ended up getting them both in trouble. That's when the film started picking up, because film pacing was not that good. I think the main thing that really bothers me about this film, and it didn't really surprise me, especially with this movie, but it was something I kind of wish they kind of changed it up a little bit. The film was predictable. You really didn't see them tapering off what was going to happen in the end. You already knew once they started to do the separation that eventually the parents was going to get together, the twins was going to win out in the end, and that's pretty much it. So it's definitely one of those movies that the story is predictable. So pretty much the strength does rely on, okay, we know the story is going to be predictable, but how good can the actors can deliver the story and keep me interested right until the end. And I gotta say, the actors and actress have done their job in this movie. This movie is good. This movie is a classic, and it's definitely the most iconic film in Hayley Mills' career. On a scale of 1 to 4, I give this film 3 stars. It is definitely worth a watch once. As for its remake predecessor with Lindsay Lohan, I have not seen that film. Will I do a review on it? Maybe. It depends on how people view that film themselves. But to me, if you really want to get a feel, especially acting-wise, in terms of what Parent Trap was back then, this is the film I would recommend. But until then, guys, this is Jason7 saying take care, be safe. What you thought about the movie, if you like it, didn't like it, leave in the comment sections, and I'll talk to you soon.